do have some pickups. Of course, last week I picked up my Switch, my Super Mario Odyssey Red Switch. I love it. It's really snazzy. I really love the red on my. What's really cool, it recognizes the color of the Joy-Cons.
Huh?
Yeah.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah. Like when it's like when you're in the menus and stuff, and you're like plugging stuff in, it doesn't just show two. It says one red, and I've seen video where it says one blue, and then like the neon.
Yeah.
It's like this is the future.
This is the
It knows. But of course, I have the digital version of Mario Odyssey, which I want to get physical, but I'm not paying $60 for it after I already have it.
Yeah.
I'm going to wait a long time to pick up that game.
Yes.
On physical copy. I'm going to get that as dirt cheap as I can ever possibly get that game. And then, of course, I picked up Skyrim, which was the surprise last week.
Yeah.
I picked up Skyrim. And
which my wife sat downstairs and played.
yeah, while we recorded the little Journey to Comics segment, which
Yep.
was almost about I think it was about a half hour, and then she fiddled around with that. I got to play a little bit of it, but not much last week because I didn't have a lot of time to play anything last week.
Yeah.
But I picked up L.A. Noire. This is the remaster of the last gen 360 PS3 game, released by Rockstar. It was Team Bendy. I can't remember who in the heck developed this. I don't think the team even exists anymore. I want to say they were like a Australian developing company. And this game is notable because this game was in development for a long time. It has notable actors in it. You will see people you recognize if you watch a lot of TV. People who are in like nobody characters and like Law and Order and stuff like that. Like reoccurring small characters. You're like, oh, that guy.
Yeah.
I recognize him because this game doesn't just scan their face. They set up like a bunch of cameras at different points, and they sat around it and they acted out the scenes. And then they took all that footage from all those angles, and then like kind of did what they did. If you guys ever watched the movie A Scanner Darkly with Keanu Reeves, they filmed it and then they animated over it.
Right.
So when you play this game, it captures all their little facial stuff because it's not dots. It's actually the footage of their face that they've mapped into the game.
Which is awesome.
It is awesome. And it's kind of creepy when you first start, but then you kind of like get used to it.
Well, I mean, for the purpose of the game, for you to check if they're lying and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It works.
And, of course, the main character, Cole Phelps, he's played by, I can't remember the actor's name, but he was in Mad Men. He was like a side character in Mad Men. And then I remember that one of the guys I was like, I was interrogating. I'm like, who is this guy? I know him. Who is this guy? I'm like getting mad. I looked him up. He played Tim Allen's brother in Home Improvement.
Oh, what?
Back in the 90s. And I'm like, no way. It's just like, I just recognized the face after all those years and couldn't place it. But this game is really cool because I love the whole, I almost want to say, old detective style of, the whole like narration type thing. It doesn't have a whole lot of narration in this, but it has like those weird little like the same music style with the horns,
right? Yeah,
and like the saxophone and whatnot. And I almost said Dick Tracy, but
it'd be close. I mean,
none of the wacky villains or anything like that. But I love you just go through the motions of trying to solve crimes and be a cop, and as you said, interrogate people, but looking at the crime scene, looking at clues. Look, and you can actually, the game has music. If the music is playing at the scene, there's still clues to be found. You can turn all that off.
I don't think I would.
But
at least you'd know that there's clues.
Right. Well, because there's a slight little like background music, and then when you find everything, it goes no, and then okay, I found everything here.
Right.
And usually it kind of with what he says or what his partner says, it kind of clues you in that you're done.
Right.
But it still does that anyway. And then when you start getting close to a clue or something that you can interact with, it'll go ding. Or it'll be like the small little ding, or like the Joy-Cons or your controller will start vibrating.
Huh.
And you can turn all that stuff off too, which is like ridiculous. But I mean, it is a bit of a slow-paced game in that aspect because you actually have to go search around and look around and find clues, piece stuff together. Because you either talk to them and you either like believe what they're saying is true, doubt them, or accuse. You cannot accuse unless you have something to back it up. If you accuse them before you do that, it can actually ruin the conversation.
Huh.
Actually, because, say you're trying to piece this, because it'll tell you after you're done, out of how many, 4 or 5 or 6, out of that you got right out of the conversation.
Huh.
And it'll actually tell you, when you're sitting there and you're trying to gauge whether or not their statement is true or false. It'll tell you right there, correct or incorrect. And of course, I've actually played one where, most of the game I was doing great, and in this one case, I just flubbed it entirely. I'm like, what in the world? Everything. I'm like, come on, he was lying. And I was like, no, he's just kind of a shady dude. But this game for the Switch, there is a big update for it, guys. It's about 13 gigabyte update. Be prepared for that. You cannot play the game until you download it onto your Switch or to a memory card. It took me about, on my internet, my Switch gets about 20 megs per download. There's a lot of stuff on my Wi-Fi at home. If I went through and turned everything off, I might be able to get more.
Right.
But for what it is, I don't use it online a lot. And so it took about an hour, almost 2 hours, about an hour and 50 minutes is when it locked in. And there's nothing in it other than, Eleanor's in the system. I got Skyrim right there.
Yeah.
Just tossed it in there. But yeah, nothing nowadays seems to come with a manual or a map or anything like that. It's all right there. But
only a handful of games do that anymore.
Out of all the games that I got today, this is the only one that I actually sat down and played today. And last night, I put the games in and I got their updates, so I could start playing them whenever I want. But I wanted to see how this looked because I was curious. Because I heard some stuff about the remaster of this. I did not know this game was tailor-made for the PS3.
Huh.
Typically, in the last generation, it was the opposite.
Right.
Games were easier to develop for the 360, using the whole DirectX 10 type thing, and more of a PC-friendly type, a way to port back and forth. You can make it on the PC, port it to the 360, working fine, and then you look at the PS3 and go, how are we going to make this work?
Yeah.
Because the PS3 had the cell processor. They utilized the cell processor when they were developing L.A. Noire. So when you have the last gen copy, the PS3 is the superior copy to have. And that is very uncommon for a third-party game. Typically, when you're talking about the PS3 and people are like, only the exclusives show the power. And it's like, yes, but here's a rare example of a third-party one that actually kind of goes above and beyond. And, of course, the 360 copy of this game is 3 discs. It's a big game. It's a big game. What else do I have to say? Oh, I saw a video comparing the PS3 to the Switch. And then, of course, to the PS4 Pro and Xbox One X. And this game runs mostly superior to the PS3. And as far as one thing, and that's like total frames. Like when you're running and there's stuff going on, the frames do kind of slow down a little bit.
On dock mode or handheld?
I kind of want to say it was both. It didn't drop to the point where it's unplayable. But when you put both side by side and he's running, you can tell the slowdown because dude over here was ahead than this dude over here. Like the whole game kind of slowed down a little bit, but it's not unplayable. It's not too noticeable unless you're like look at them side by side. If you're sucked in the game chasing after a dude, you're focusing on that and not too much because it's not like to where you're like, wow, I can't even move.
Right.
No, the game is running. And the other thing is draw distance. In the handheld mode, the draw distance is less, of course.
Right.
But it's to the point where you don't even really notice it too much because it's a smaller screen, and you're looking at it. I was playing it just earlier, and it looks fantastic. To think that these games are now in your hand.
Yes.
Playable. Not the new WWE game, apparently.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's beside the point. And that's why I wanted to get this. This has all the DLC from the last generation on it. So you don't have to worry about that. Same if you get it on the PS3 and Xbox.
Right.
PS4 and Xbox One.
I got it.
All these numbers, dude. I'm just getting all over myself. But this was $50. And the PS4 Xbox One version is $40. They put a little bit more effort into this one because you have motion controls and you have touch controls.
Right.
So that they added just a little bit of extra oomph into this, which is the extra $10. That's okay with me. I wanted it for the Switch. I could easily got this for the PS4, but
mobility.
It's that mobility, and it's the fact that it looks just fine on the TV. I'm not a graphics whore or anything like that. I play retro games. I mean, come on. I mean, as long as the game is playable and it's fine, I'm cool.
Right.
I'm not going to sit there and go, oh, this game could look so much better. Because obviously I know it could.
Yeah.
I'm just going to enjoy the experience that it gives me. And I've heard that the superior version to have is definitely the Xbox One X version that runs at a full, frame 4K. And
right.
With no slowdown. And PS4 Pro has a little bit of the resolution isn't quite there. So it does look a little jagged because it like up-reses it. It takes a 1080p signal and up-reses it to that, where the Xbox One X actually just pops it up. But awesome. If you're looking for something else for your Switch, check out LA Noire because Rockstar put it out, and if we buy Rockstar products on the Switch, we may get more. I'm not saying they will. It makes sense. They're dipping their toe into that water, going, "How's this doing over here? And how do people care about our games?" We were going to release this anyway for the other two systems. Put it over there, see how it does. And if it does badly, all right, whatever. But if it does really good, and you're like,
Are we going to put?
Maybe we should put a little bit more effort into the Switch and
maybe a GTA 5 port.
See, and I talked about that with a friend at work, and it's completely playable on a PS3 with 150 something like megabyte RAM. That's not to say that the Switch, even though it's more higher advanced tech, could run. It's not a factor of could it run it smoothly enough.
Right.
And I guess that's something they would have to sit down and go, what can we trim from this? Is it draw distance? Is it this? Is it, it wouldn't be, of course, on par with your PS4 and Xbox One versions of the game, but you're getting the mobility of it. Would be the uptick on that. Up next, Breath of the Wild. I don't really have much to say.
It's Breath of the Wild.
It's Breath of the Wild. We've talked about this game to death this year. Of course, originally played this on the Wii U. Never beat it. I got distracted by Andromeda. Want to go back to it, and I always said, man, I might just wait till I get the Switch version to just really dive back into it and start over. And because I wasn't that far. I beat one Divine Beast, and it was on my way to the second. So,
right.
I mean, I kept getting distracted doing those damn temples. So,
yeah, that's kind of one of the points of it.
But awesome big world game, and of course, as we record this, just this past Thursday, of course, a week ago now, if you're watching this on release day, they just released the last DLC for it.
The Ballad of the Champions.
Yeah, so there's a $20 season pass for that. I heard that FF15 is getting a second season pass. Yep. Just thought I'd throw that in there.
Just I don't know.
Yep. So, again, nothing inside except for that small little cart. Tiny little cart for big case. I like these cases better than like the 3DS cases.
Yes.
It kind of reminds me of the PSP cases.
Yep.
A little thinner though. Last but not least, Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So I love Xenoblade Chronicles 1. Played it on the Wii. Played X a little bit. I didn't really dive into it as much as I wanted to. It didn't really interest me because when I played the first one on the Wii, I was like, "Boo, this game is freaking awesome!" And then I get to X, I'm like, "This is not the same anything."
Yeah.
So it's not that I don't ever want to play it. It was just like, man, even that's what I get for going into a game a little blind.
I need to play it.
Same.
Finish it.
Not much in here. There's a season pass for this too. And this Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is the sequel. It's its own story. You don't need to play the first one.
Right.
It's kind of like your Tales games or your Final Fantasy, where the next one is a different story and world. But it's got the same sort of style and look and feel of the original Xenoblade Chronicles and not the X. So.
Yeah, I'm interested to see it. Played a little bit. Looks like kind of the same fighting style as X. Kind of. Excluding the mechs.
It's more akin to the original. And
right.
The second one was a little different. Or the X was a bit different. But yeah, I've got 2 more games coming in the mail. And I might just save those for the next episode. That way I can show it to you. But so those are my pickups. You didn't have any
Nope, not this week.